nowadays, it seems like you have to either sleep your way up there or you have to be an industry plant because your parents knew someone in the business.
No, I mean, look at Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, all the powerful men want to prey on underage girls.
Do you think OnlyFans is a very crucial part of society?
These young women fall into the same like Asian submissiveness, right? Like men just want a docile woman who obeys their every command.
With the rise in generative AI, do you feel like your job as a content creator is at risk?
I published it in my book, like some of the things men would say. It's like, oh, somebody didn't reply to my email, who cares? Like, it's like much better than like someone saying they want to rape me.
This is Kaila Yu, the Taiwanese-American singer-songwriter, actress, and former import model who fronted the all-Asian-American rock band Nylon Pink. From television hosting to writing for major outlets like Rolling Stone and the New York Times, she's now the author of the powerful memoir, Fetishized, a reckoning with yellow fever, feminism, and beauty, using her voice to challenge stereotypes and reclaim identity.
Hey guys, I'm Emily Tang, co-founder of Influencer Studio. And today, I want to show you guys something kind of insane. You can literally turn yourself into a fully AI-powered avatar in under 60 seconds.
You don't need fancy photos, a camera setup, or even confidence on camera.
All you do is upload a few selfies, and Influencer Studio learns your face, your expressions, and your style. Then you choose a vibe. Fashion, lifestyle, cyberpunk, luxury, fitness, whatever version of you that you want to create. In seconds, you can get content that looks like professional photo shoots of you, shot in places you've never been, wearing outfits you don't even own. We built this because creating content every day is exhausting, and this gives you back your time. This isn't replacing you, it's multiplying you. And if you ever wanted a more confident, more aesthetic version of yourself, try Influencer Studio. Check out the link in the bio. My guest today is Kaila Yu. She's a dear friend of mine. She's not only a pinup model, influencer, she is also an author. I'm so excited to have her with us. Usually I start these things with icebreakers, but we literally have an icebreaker today because you just came back from Antarctica not too long ago.
Yeah.
How was that? Because not a lot of people can say they've been to Antarctica.
You know what's crazy? Because I'm a travel writer and like it's so common for travel writers to go to Antarctica. Like it is so common. But yes, I guess amongst like people who are not travel writers, it's not very common. But it was like guaranteed that I wanted to go because all my travel writer friends were going. But it's magical. I think it's something everybody has to do in their life because if you love nature and like just what the world looks like untouched by humans.
Right. For someone like myself, and I'm sure a lot of listeners or viewers at home who've never been to Antarctica, what is it like? What is it actually like there? I mean, can people actually live there and not cohabitate, but like, create little communities and bring up kids?
No, yeah. There are like scientists who live there for seasons, but yeah, there's no like a village or anything like that. The way you visit Antarctica is on a cruise ship only, really. I think there's some fly-in abilities, but I don't know how that works. But for the cruise ships, there's big cruise ships that never even like just cruise around for the scenery. There's, I went on an expedition ship with National Geographic and Lindblad, and I would recommend going with them than anybody else. Because first of all, National Geographic is a gold standard for all like nature and wildlife. And they have all these scientists and photographers on board, and they like shoot the wildlife. So you don't even have to worry about like getting your camera out. But yeah, with an expedition cruise like that, you get off a lot. Like they want you to try to make landings, and it's very much weather dependent. So they'll try to make 2 landings a day.
Where did you hop on the cruise from? Was it South America?
Yeah, so I'm based in LA, so I flew into Santiago, and then everyone usually I think departs from Ushuaia, Argentina. That's kind of like the common boarding place.
Oh my God, that is so exciting. And is there like an age range that you would suggest people to visit Antarctica? Because my parents have been talking about it for so long, and I'm like, well, they're still young. They're still spring chickens. But is there like up to a certain age where you're like, okay, maybe this is going to be too difficult for you?
Maybe 90. I mean, there were older people, a lot of senior citizens on this cruise. And the craziest part was there was 150 people and half of them did the polar plunge, including a lot of senior citizens. And you have to sign a waiver that says, like, if you get a heart attack, you know, all these things, like they are not liable. And like older people did that. That's totally optional. But like, you only get out for like an hour at the time, and it's not like crazy hiking or anything. So you don't need to be super duper physically fit to do Antarctica.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Coming up with an intro for you was so hard for me because I knew you from the MySpace days. I was like, Kaila's one of the hot import models. But then I met you in person and you were actually working for a Chinese, beauty tech, like a beauty tech company.
That was a hellish time in my life. I did not enjoy that.
And on top of that, you were also a musician and you were kind of this like manager and you managed talents like social media influencers back before I even knew what social media influencers were. And then you created your own PR company and now, you're a travel writer and an author. So you've had so many different jobs. And I don't know if I listed them all. Maybe there's other jobs. Oh, actress as well. But you worked so many different jobs across so many different industries. What was the most difficult job you've ever had?
That's a good question. I would say maybe it was music because I actually hated touring. So then we had to tour for like months on end, and that was very tough because I hated it. I loved like the idea of being a musician. I love performing one-off shows where you fly to like a glamorous place and play a show and go home. But I do not like 30 days of driving and playing shows every night.
Music is a really interesting space because when you scratch the surface, music seems like a really dark place to me, at least just my understanding of K-pop.
Look at Diddy, like that is just like the norm, that was like fully accepted for decades.
So do you think the music landscape has changed since you went into music? Because my impression is that back in the day, music was actually this sort of it was an American dream. People could maybe be discovered on YouTube, SoundCloud. You put your music out there and you go to Hollywood Boulevard and you give out your CDs to people. Like maybe there was a chance that you make it. But nowadays it seems like you have to either sleep your way up there or you have to be an industry plant because your parents knew someone in the business. Do you think it's gotten better or darker?
I think the music industry to begin with is a very dark business. I feel like it's like middle-aged men preying on like young women. But generally, I think it's like there's no money to be made in music anymore, right? Like people used to make so much more money with the old record label system and like albums. And now people only buy singles. Do they even buy singles anymore? I think they just stream. And I don't think artists make that much off streaming as compared to selling an album. But I think the difference is that you could go viral on TikTok and become famous. So that's a possibility that didn't exist before.
Right. But does being TikTok famous actually mean having the money to support yourselves and your family?
Well, there's the one girl who's topping the charts right now. I can't remember her name, but she's the white girl that did a lot of dances, but she was the most famous one.
Oh, Addison Rae?
Huh?
Addison Rae?
Yeah. She's having a huge career, right? I'm assuming she's making enough for more than enough.
Girl, I'll be honest, I don't really know because back in the day, they had a lot of TikTok houses and all of them were doing TikTok dances from like a really beautiful mansion. And then later I found out, oh, someone commissions them to make content there. Like a really rich person will invite a bunch of influencers and they all film content out of a beautiful house. They might not actually be living there. So to me, social media is kind of smoke and mirror. Yeah. I never really know. And that's why you actually are the one that kind of, pulls the curtains back for me, because I really didn't know how a lot of those things came together.
But what I do know is that influencers get paid ridiculous amounts of money. So Addison Rae's probably at the level where she could command $100,000 a post. Right. So, that's not her making money off music, but it is still her making money.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of people have that opportunity to become an Addison Rae, or it's like close to 0%?
I'd say there's a much better chance of that happening now, or at least you build a fan base where you can make, maybe not millions, but you can make, I think there's a 10,000 fans concept. I think that still plays true, where if you have a dedicated base of 10,000 fans, you can have a career that's sustainable, and maybe you won't be rich, but maybe you can make six figures.
Right. On the topic of social media influencers, sorry, I just got a charge on my phone and I'm like, I don't know where that came from. Okay. Oh, wait, earlier you were mentioning, with this whole P. Diddy scandal, saying that it was the norm, and I don't know if this is a sensitive topic for you, but was that normal to you, the way that people were preying on you or your band back when you guys were aspiring musicians?
Yeah, so I wrote about this in my memoir, Fetishized. There's a couple chapters on the music career. And the most disturbing part was I was in an all-girl Asian band, and there were several really beautiful members of the band who were fully adult women. The most popular member of my band amongst middle-aged white men, which, by the way, why does this girl band have middle-aged fans, at all? Our target market is young people in their 20s or 30s even. But there would be these middle-aged men who would show up to shows, and they were fans of my drummer, Jamie, who joined the band at 17, but really she looked 14. So there's all these fully grown, beautiful women in the band, but all these men wanted the child, because Jamie doesn't do makeup. She's real... just natural, and she wears jeans and Converse. She looks like a high school kid, and that's what the men were into.
Oh my gosh, that's absolutely disturbing. Yeah. Is this something that you feel is unique to music, or is
no, I mean, look at Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, all the powerful men want to prey on underage girls because they see women as commodities who are not equal to them. And the younger the women, these young women falls into the same Asian submissiveness, right? Men just want a docile woman who obeys their every command.
Both of us are Chinese. Well, you're Taiwanese, and I'm as Chinese as it gets. But I feel like both of us have touched upon Chinese history. And, when you look at our history, I feel like older men have been preying on younger women for, I don't know, since the beginning of time.
That's just a patriarchy, right?
I know. So I guess... as women, what can we do to protect ourselves? Why do you even think this is a thing? Because I feel like you probably have delved into the minds of some of these men much more than I have. But is there something we can do to kind of right this wrong?
I mean, I just think back to the amount of middle-aged men when I was 18 or 19, just hordes of them, trying to get whatever. I think it's changing a lot today, because I think Gen Z's, even a 10-year age gap, they're what is this? They're mind you, we grew up with Woody Allen, which was showing 40 years age gap and nobody blinked an eye, in his movies. So I think how we change it is that we don't accept it. Like, we criticize it, and we show it like it is inappropriate, because no matter what, like a 10-year age gap there's a power differential no matter what you say, because you have 10 years of experience on this person.
100%.
Yeah. So I'm not saying a 10-year age gap is necessarily problematic, but I would say a 20-year age gap, that's questionable.
100%. Your memoir is so well written. Like, just this morning, I was telling my boyfriend, hey, I want to come back from the gym early because I want to read more of it before I talk to you. But I think what strikes me as so special is how you recall a lot of your details in such a clear and concise way. It was almost like I could visualize your life in photos. So how did you do that? What was the creative process behind writing this memoir? How did you recall all those memories in such a poetic, a very clear way?
I think it's just spending a lot of time on it. I had a brilliant editor. Like, part of the process was that my editor, who was a champion of my book, is also Chinese. So her name's Amy Lee, and she's experienced fetishization as every Asian woman has. And I'd write something and she'd like want to tease it out more. Like, what about this? And what about this? And yeah, I really was inspired by books such as Minor Feelings, and also My Body by Emily Ratajkowski. So I really appreciated how detailed they got and like wove their personal stories with cultural criticism.
Right. When you were reflecting on your experiences, how did you draw a lot of that out? Because just how you, for instance, describe, that you would hang out like at a mall afterwards, or how you would, explain like, okay, the needle was being injected into my body as I was going under anesthesia for, surgery and stuff. Everything was just so detailed. Like, did you know back then that you were going to one day write a memoir and like recount all these details, or like, where did that come from?
No, I feel like as a journalist, which I've been working as for many years, it is just so important to get as granular with detail as you can. So I would go back in my mind to these scenes and try to remember, like, I'd look up emails or look into diary entries and just like try to weave it all together.
Oh, okay.
I mean, but when you're talking about like the needle in the arm, you're talking about like me going under for surgery. Like, I write about it in the book. I'm a drug addict and I still like kind of get off on that's so dark, right? But like, I love going under. Like, people are scared of it, but I look forward to it.
Right. Because I feel like you actually live in the moment a lot more than the average person. I think, because if you asked me what I ate for breakfast yesterday, I'd be like, wait, what? I don't know. Like, unless I took a picture of my food, I don't think
But if you had to sit there for a day and recall every single part of that experience, you may come up with more than you expect.
Right, yeah. Right. But you're very good at that. And I think it is a very special talent that not a lot of people have. It's just being in the moment and then also being able to like distill that experience in a way where other people can almost feel it. No, it was absolutely amazing. And it's such a special thing to do as well, to put yourself in that vulnerable space talking about addiction. I almost wish that I read this before I knew about you, because, oh gosh, we would go to those events and I'd be like, here, Kaila, like free cocktails, because I'm Asian. I'm going to take advantage of anything free. And you would always turn to me and say, oh, I'm sober. And I didn't understand what that meant. Yeah. And so it's so brave of you. And I feel really bad for...
No, I mean, you didn't know.
Yeah, I felt really bad for not knowing that. But briefly, though, for the audience of this podcast, how did you kind of like spiral into that addiction? But like, what was that moment that made you finally snap out of it, more importantly?
Yeah, I think I got into drugs, when Asians were all raving. So my first drug was probably ecstasy, or it was weed, but I always hated weed. But ecstasy was the gateway drug. And then once I got into the Asian clubbing scene, there's a lot of cocaine there. So alcohol isn't actually like my hugest issue. It gives me a headache. My vices are like pills and coke. And then I was in a band, and that was very, very normal. But it wasn't like one big moment that caused me to go sober all of a sudden. It was just like I was in my 30s, and it's not so cute to be doing, coke. You could get away with it in your 20s and nobody blinks, but it's just like in your 30s you start reevaluating, like, is this a good look? So it was kind of a slow progression that finally led to it.
That's another thing I wanted to ask was, it felt like ever since you were really young, fresh out of college, you were kind of thrown into this world where a beautiful Asian woman like yourself will obviously get sexualized, and you get lots of opportunities that way as well. But let's just say that you rejected all of that sexualization and all of the opportunities that came with being a very sexy and attractive Asian woman. Where do you think your life would be right now? Would you be a professor or a doctor? Where do you see yourself?
I mean, I guess I went to college with a bio major wanting to become a plastic surgeon, but not really. Like, I had no interest in actually, but I was like, okay, that makes money. And I'm interested in like beauty. But I couldn't actually see myself doing that. I don't know. I guess I could just have a regular job somewhere, but I would probably be miserable. So I don't know. I've never wanted kids, but I could have just like followed my parents' path and gotten married with kids. I do know people like that who kind of followed the parental instructions, but they sometimes aren't very happy.
Right. Are you happier now that you kind of broke free of being hypersexualized? And you have a huge platform across social media. Because one thing that you mentioned was you felt like back when you were young, you felt like you didn't get to have deep conversations with your fans. Are you having more of those conversations now?
Yeah, definitely. And what's been so interesting about the book is obviously I knew Asian women are going to be able to relate to it. But now I'm having conversations with white men, with gay men who are reading it, and just like unexpected Black men are really resonating with it. Like really unexpected audiences, and like hearing really different takes on it and like how they relate to it. So that's really fascinating. But yeah, I mean, to have discovered the career of writing, which depends nothing on your looks, is like probably the most priceless thing ever. Because like I was in the entertainment industry so long, and like as a female, you're a depreciating asset, really. So it's like I don't want to work in that industry.
So what's making you happy right now?
Today, like this year, I've been working a lot on self-love things, and I've like really discovered that one of my coping mechanisms is striving. That's why I get like certain successes in areas, like to compensate for things I accomplish. But now I'm kind of like, okay, I've put out this book. I'm gonna, promote it for the next year, but I have no big, huge goals. I'm gonna like enjoy my travel writing career because that's my dream job. And I have no crazy goals this year, and I'm just gonna enjoy what is.
That's amazing. As someone who I think of you as this expert of like male and female dynamics, you're so good at knowing how to kind of navigate through, I guess, like gender roles and dynamics. What are your thoughts on females in the OnlyFans space? I asked this because there were no OnlyFans when you were an aspiring musician and I guess like influencer over, or when there were no OnlyFans when you were a model and musician, right? Do you think OnlyFans is kind of rotting the male demographic right now, or do you think OnlyFans is a very crucial part of society?
I mean, it's so complicated. Like, I'm a feminist, and that what that means is I like believe in every woman's right to their choice. So if a woman chooses to do OnlyFans and that makes her super, super happy and fulfilled, I'm for it. My only question is, if you're 21, do you really know like the repercussions these photos and videos are going to have for the rest of your life? Because I didn't.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit trickier. But the other thing, I think OnlyFans is good because like porn companies when I was growing up were run by old white men who would prey on college co-eds. And like there's a case right now that's very famous called the Girls Do Porn case. They were like this huge company. Girls Do Porn was a huge porn company that was on Pornhub, and they trafficked hundreds of women, told them they were going to modeling jobs, and coerced them to do like hardcore sex acts in various different ways. And now these women have sued and gotten millions, and all those men went to prison. But with OnlyFans, like you don't need these male empires. A woman could just go on and like run her own thing. So I think in that way, it's more empowering.
Okay, true. Because just like you, I feel the same way. I'm like, I am so happy that these girls are using their bodies the way they want to. What they do with their money, that's totally up to them. And then I read your book and I was like, wait, we are in a way also kind of allowing yellow fever to run rampant because we are making our bodies so easily accessible to everyone now. And so it feels like I almost want to say, okay, you can see my body, but you also have to have a conversation with me, you know, like a intellectual conversation. And I just feel like you can never really have that, maybe. And then you have countries.
I don't think it's up to women to make the change. It's like up to the men.
Oh, that's a really good point. I love that.
We're not the ones in power.
Right. Right. And then you have countries, you know, China, for instance, claims that they don't want OnlyFans introduced in their country ever. The UK has banned pornography. And
wait, what?
I think the UK put an age limit, and it's absolutely crazy. We don't have enough time to talk about it today, but it's like, it's harder for a 16-year-old to like jerk off on the internet. Than
like that's ruining sex for people in real life.
It's easier for immigrants to go into the UK than for like a teenager to jerk off.
Oh, I didn't know that. I think that's good.
I think it's a little, I think there's something there. I'm going a little off topic, but I feel like if you prevent kids, or not kids, but if you like prevent certain young adults from like learning about sex, then they're just not going to know what to do. I feel like we need to have conversations with young men so that you can still pleasure yourself, but also respect the woman that you're objectifying.
The issue with pornography is it's the Wild West. So like when a 14-year-old boy goes on to watch porn, it's like hardcore, and there's like choking and like coming on the women's faces, and they think this is just normal. Like choking in sex, that's like pretty normal now, right? But would you say like 20 years ago, before porn was like available on the internet, that was not like a normal standard thing to do in sex? So sex has become like more degrading for women. And there's like studies been shown that young men, like some of them who have porn addictions, cannot get off with a real woman, because real women don't look like perfect porn star bodies.
True. So, according to that research, are they getting off from like hentai or like anime characters?
That I don't know. I don't know exactly what porn's getting them off. Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're watching, whether it's porn or porn stars or like
Gotcha.
cartoons or porn stars.
Yeah, okay. Because in the gaming sphere, I know that VTubers, especially like those waifu anime
They're never going to meet a hentai character in real life.
It's insane, but I do think that I don't know if it's pornography or just, you know, this disconnect between males and females, but something is happening in this generation that I feel like are leading young men astray.
Yeah, there's something going on.
We both can feel it. We just don't necessarily have like the substance to, you know, to say like, yeah, this is happening. But I'm definitely noticing it more and more. And, you know, the final thing I wanted to get your opinion on is you've been a content creator, and you've created all kinds of content. You've done travel content, you've done music, modeling, beauty, fashion, all of it. With the rise in generative AI, do you feel like your job as a content creator is at risk?
I don't know, because I don't know about Gen Z, right? Like for me, I would never follow a AI creator. That's like absurd to me. But I don't know how like a Gen Alpha, say, even like younger, they grew up with completely different circumstances than me. Maybe they would be perfectly fine with that. It's interesting to see how it might all play out. Like,
well, okay, let's say music, for instance, because, well, I know that Nylon Pink actually played their own music. You guys created your own music. But you guys actually had a drummer, you guys actually had a guitarist, and you sing with your own voices. But let's just say that AI was around the time that you guys went touring, where essentially you guys don't need to make your own music. You're just up on stage pretending like you guys are riffing. Would that offend you, or would you guys actually implement it?
I think like AI is here to stay, so we should use it as a tool. So you might use it to assist you in songwriting, but you should still like be playing your, you know, it's the same thing like people don't appreciate lip syncing because they want an artist that is really singing. So yeah, I think like use AI as a tool, but it should not be like completely generating everything for you, so it's not even authentic.
Right. Blackpink was in hot water because their music video Jump was very obviously made with AI.
What music video Jump?
Blackpink's music video Jump.
Oh, the music video called Jump. Okay, yeah.
When you get a chance, like if you look at certain scenes, like, you know, Jisoo's got like 6 fingers on one hand, and just like the movement was very glitchy. You can tell that it was AI. And you could tell like they probably weren't all in the same room when they were filming each scene. But yeah, that's old news, but I think it's one of those things that gets people really riled up, because it's like, we don't want to support people who are kind of cutting corners in their production. But
then I would argue, like, isn't motion graphics kind of AI, except it takes much longer and much more skill? So we could have said like motion graphics are bad and Jurassic Park is bad because like dinosaurs, you know? So like, where do you draw the line at fake things or whatever?
For me, it's what type of art you're trying to sell. For me, Blackpink is not supposed to sell motion graphics or technology. That's to me. True, yeah. I think I want to see them dance to their maximum ability. I do want to hear them sing. Yeah. So they're selling a connection for me. And they're idols, right? I want to look at them and be like, yeah, like I want to be your friend. I think that's what they're selling. With Jurassic Park, it's different because, you know, yeah. But that's one thing that I think about all the time is, I agree with you, AI is here to stay, but I also like content creation. So it's like, how do I work with it so that it's not taking my livelihood and I can still connect with my audience, right?
Well, I would hope that people still want real human connection, you know? Like, if people still want that, then AI can never quite replace that. Even, you know, if an AI becomes your boyfriend or something like that is happening, right?
Yeah.
It's not real. I think people still want something real.
Girl, you'd be
Some
so
people.
surprised. There's this thing right now that I recently learned about. It's called AI psychosis, and it
Yes,
literally it can turn some people. And I think those people are a little bit unwell to
They were
begin.
probably a little mentally unstable, right?
Right. And I think AI can bring them to like a very, very dark edge that it's really tragic. But that's why we do these type of interviews and we talk to people so like, hey, more people can know about AI psychosis and like protect yourself, right? I want to wrap up this conversation just with some words of wisdom from you. So let's say I'm an aspiring musician right now. Where would you recommend that I start?
I mean, honestly, I'm so not the expert on music today because like I barely listen to modern music and I don't know who any of these TikTok stars are. Um, I would just say and I don't even know if TikTok's the main platform anymore, right? Weren't they supposed to be shut down? Um, TikTok does very much reward authenticity, so it like distills the true you. So I think that's a good platform to go test out things. How I first succeeded on TikTok is I just started an account and started posting whatever. Like I didn't add any of my friends, so it felt like I was just like there's things I don't want to post on Instagram because all my friends follow me there. But like TikTok, I was posting all this like if you look back at some of the stuff we were posting at the beginning, it's so cringy. But like I just felt free to experiment with everything because like I didn't feel like anybody was watching. So I would recommend that. Like start a channel that you add none of your friends to and let the algorithm show you what like is hitting.
That is so crazy. Now that you mention it, it just hit me like social media was supposed to be for our friends. But if you truly want to grow, like you gotta kick your friends out of there.
Yeah.
Wow. Mind blown. Okay. So you mentioned you don't really think TikTok is the main platform because, you know, it's kind of bounced between so many different possible owners. What do you think is the next social media platform that people should be looking into?
I think it's just actually, and I'm not an expert on this platform, but YouTube is the one where you can make the most money with, and you can like grow the most loyal fan base with. I'm not an expert on long form content, but if you can engage someone for 10 minutes, that's like real power. For writers, Substack's really huge. So that's like a big opportunity right now.
I totally forgot to ask you because when I'm talking to you, I feel like one topic inspires me to ask like 10 more questions. But the core of our interview is really to inspire people to be entrepreneurs or to be a founder or co-founder of something that they're really passionate about. And I know that you had a PR company, publicity company. And I thought that was so cool that you founded in LA. So can you talk a little bit more about that and how you made it successful?
Yeah, it was called Hello Drama PR, which was like a Nylon Pink song. But basically, this was at the start of influencer brand culture. So my PR company was very focused on influencer branding. But basically, we would just connect brands with influencers. And a lot of that, the ways we did it was with events and activations and giftings. So those were really fun to throw and like get to know the community. But we pitched a lot. So I think like starting any business, you just have to aggressively pitch and always be looking for clients.
When you say aggressively pitch, were you pitching to brands or influencers?
Yeah, for brands. Yeah, the influencers are pretty easy. Like when you have a nice brand doing a nice gifting event, they want to go, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And how did you approach these brands? Was it mostly through like cold emails or, you know, through a screen? Or you had to like actually get into the car and drive somewhere to meet with people?
No, I never had to really meet with people, actually. Some of them were obviously referrals. More golden than cold pitching is like just a repeat customer or like customer referrals, but plenty of cold pitching where we just go down lists of brands that were a fit and like email them. The key to cold pitching to me is follow up. They're probably not going to reply to the first email, probably not even the second email. So it's like the third, fourth, or fifth. You have to just follow up. And also you have to follow up intelligently. So using I use MailTrack for my journalist pitching now, where you can see when people have opened the email or not. And if they forward it to other people, that indicates probably increased interest. But if you're cold emailing and not knowing if people are opening your emails, it makes it a lot harder.
And you weren't doing this by yourself, right? You also had a partner in the business. What is the key to finding a good partner?
I don't really know. I've always just worked with my friends. And that has gone for better or worse sometimes. Matt was my partner at Hello Drama PR, and he happened to be awesome. So I don't know, because I did not have any kind of technique to it.
Okay. Is there anything that you would want to share to a future entrepreneur? And I understand the landscape's always changing. So maybe what works for you back in the day might not apply to the kids nowadays. Because I feel like kids nowadays don't actually have as much, okay, no shade, kids, but a lot of us are actually so under socialized. They don't know how to network. They don't know how to hold eye contact. You know what I mean? And a lot of them don't even start conversations talking about you. They start talking about themselves, right? So what do you think is lacking these days that people really got to learn?
I will say that I'm also not an expert at socializing. I can turn it on for a couple hours or so, but I'm an introvert. So I do very well email pitching. But I think that people have to see it as a numbers game. Some girl the other day was like, oh my God, I pitched my book to 10 agents and none of them replied. And I was like, girl, I sent out 100 emails at least and followed up with all of them 3 to 5 times. So it's a numbers game for any industry.
Girl, you are so resilient. Where do you think you got this resilience from? Because I'll be honest, when someone doesn't respond to my email, I immediately take that as a rejection and I'm sad. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to talk to this person anymore. So how do you handle that?
Well, when you do a numbers game, then some will reply, right? So, but you can't get focused or take it personally. I just think oh, maybe it went to their spam or maybe whatever. I don't take it. I think the thing for me is that I was online at such a young age and people were so horrible to me online, the things they would say. I published it in my book, some of the things men would say, very violent, horrifying things. It's oh, somebody didn't reply to my email, who cares? It's much better than someone saying they want to rape me. Sorry to get dark, but yeah,
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry to hear that. But for the sake of editing, you should send me the chapter and the page or whatnot, and I'll send it to them, because that's freaking insane. But you're right, because I think nowadays, in such a PC world, a lot of kids, I think, are becoming a little softer, because I don't think they've been through the challenges.
Now there's trigger warnings for everything. I'm okay, yeah.
No, you're so right. Okay. What do you think it's harder to be a content creator back in your day, or do you think it's harder to be a content creator now?
It was way harder back in the day because there were no brand deals. That wasn't an established thing, so I couldn't make thousands of dollars posting for Target, because that just wasn't a thing. We would make our money oh, you'd have to go make an appearance at a club and go all the way. But now somebody could just shoot a video in an hour and make $2,000. That was not available to us.
Well, you've managed a lot of these influencers. Where are they now? Because you've worked with some really big names at the time. And I think you mentioned at some point that they're shelf life is usually around 5 years or something. So where have these major influencers kind of spin off to?
Some of them have become parents, and that like opens up a new world of content because I think mommy content's very highly popular. Um, but yeah, a lot of them just kind of disappear. So I don't know if they pivoted into something else. But you have to have a backup plan. You can't like say, "Oh, I'm
Right.
going to be influencer forever." Like it should lead into like, "Oh, you launch a brand or you like consult or like, but you can't depend, especially like if you're platform dependent, like Instagram could change its algorithm tomorrow and you could just like not have any more traction.
Exactly. Yeah. You mentioned that a lot. And it's something that I think about so much, which is why it's important to diversify, right? Like have a YouTube and a TikTok and an Instagram because all of those platforms work so differently. Do you have any other tips for entrepreneurs as they're trying to find the next cool thing? Like, one thing that I like to ask previous guests is there a job or a field that you think will no longer exist in the future? And, the counter question is like, is there a new job that's going to rise up? Because I think you're a really insightful person and you kind of have your pulse on social media. But like one job that I think will no longer exist is like radiologists, for instance, because AI is now screening X-rays.
Never even thought of that.
Yeah, and it's much better and more precise than actual human. And another job that is kind of on the rise is like an AI prompt writer, because we need people to interact with the AI. So in your field, do you feel like there's jobs that you think are kind of slowly weaning out? And is there another job maybe that's kind of on its way in?
Well, I mean, it's definitely eating into like writing. Like websites may no longer get traffic in the future if everybody just goes to ChatGPT for the answer, right? So I don't know how that's going to play out. I would say, like, you probably know this. I think the biggest money-making job in the future is live shopping, which I am not in and I'm not good at. But like that is taken over China, right? And it's still barely made it here. But I think people who are in a space where they're selling products should really be paying attention to that.
I hate it because I'm like, where do people get all this money? Like, I don't know how people are doing it.
Yeah, people are making so much money off that though. But I
Yeah.
think you have to be able to be a person who could like be live for like 5 hours, like the QVC ladies where you can sit there for 5 hours and talk about a product. Then there's money there. You can do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, finally, what's next for you? Are you planning to maybe adapt your book into a series?
Yeah, the dream has always been like a series, like a Euphoria meets Tokyo Drift kind of thing. Also a second book idea is in the works. And then just, yeah, promoting the book.
Yeah. Oh, for fans who might not know this, or for people who are watching this and might not know this about Kaila, but she was actually in Tokyo Drift.
Briefly, yeah.
No, I love that. And you must have met so many cool celebrities throughout your life.
Yeah, I've met some, maybe not the coolest ones, but I've definitely met a lot of B ones. That's for sure.
Do you have like a most memorable celebrity experience? It could be bad too. Like could be like, wow, guys, this person seems really nice and innocent on the outside, but they're actually such a jerk.
Oh yeah, I totally write about this in my book. There's like, how like you have, I'm not that like into celebrities because I'm like from California and we see them all the time, so I'm not like starstruck. But there was this one obscure ass comedian who's not even good looking, but he just like he's brilliant as a comedian. So I just like really was into him when I first saw it, and I ended up meeting him on Hinge and going on a date with him. But then you have to read the book to hear the full story.
Oh, that is probably the
Yeah, he was totally a dick.
That is probably the perfect place for us to end, because I know that you have to go